Welcome to the Circuit of the Americas. It's getaway day here for round 4 of the Ferrari Challenge North America. Hello everyone, I'm Bob Varsha. Glad to have you with us for the second of 2 days of racing. We're here at Circuit of the Americas to start the second half of the North American season. We've been to Daytona, Road Atlanta, and Indianapolis. Still ahead, WeatherTech Raceway in Laguna Seca, then Sebring, Florida. Then all of the worldwide Ferrari Challenge Series, Europe, North America, Asia Pacific, and the United Kingdom will join for the finale mondiale to crown the worldwide champions. Our site is Circuit of the Americas, built in 2012 as the home of the U.S. Formula One Grand Prix. It's a spectacular racetrack. And it's in the city of Austin, or just outside, truth compels me to say, one of the most fascinating cities in America, and the Texas state capital. The track, 3.42 miles around, 20 quarters, 12 left, 8 right. Lots of elevation change, and the kind of things that racing drivers love. And a great test for these 488 Challenge Evo Ferrari race cars. Weather has been a talking point all weekend. Yesterday, the temperatures reached above 100 degrees Fahrenheit with humidity indexed in about 108 on the skin. Now in Celsius, you see to the right, humidity has come up, but the temperature has gone down slightly. And the drivers will all appreciate that, but it has been hot here in Texas. I've told you about the racetrack. Now let's get a driver's eye view as Coppa Shell driver Brad Horstman takes us around.
Hi, I'm Brad Horstman, driver of the 105 Foreign Cars Italia Ferrari 488 Challenge Evo car, and I'm going to take you for a lap around the Circuit of the Americas. So here we are at Circuit of the Americas, coming out of turn 19, setting up for turn 20. Turn 20 is the last turn that we will hit before we hit the front stretch and ultimately the start-finish line. The tower is a good bit down the front stretch here. As we approach the first turn, we want to use that steep hill that you see in front of you to use that compression and really slow the car down. We can push the braking zone pretty deep here. Turn 1 is one of the slower speed corners that we'll hit on the circuit. It's a third gear corner. We've got past that guy. So we want to hustle the car back to the left there, and as we're coming through 2, we want to try to keep it tight to the right, but we are full throttle here, setting up for a really complex turn of 3 through 6. It's a left-right complex. You really want to make sure you stay ahead of the car. It's very difficult, but if you get it right, it's very quick. Going through 6 here, you want to keep the car a little bit to the right there, maybe a little bit more than I did. Going through 7 and setting up for 8. 8's unique. You really want to straddle the curbing there. Keep the right sides just to the right of the red and white gator. And that's a quick left back to the left on turn 9. Turn 10 down also to the left, all the way down to turn 11 is flat. It's a very high speed area. It's a good passing zone here going into 11. 11 is important because it sets us up for the longest straightaway on the track. And in fact, it's one of the longest straightaways I think, again, we hit on many of the tracks we visit. You want to make sure that you get that exit really right because it is such a long straightaway. You're going to carry a lot of speed here. In fact, we're going to pull 7th gear here towards the end of this straightaway. This is a good time to check all your gauges, relax a little bit, remember to breathe, and then get ready to find your braking zone to set up for turn 12. 12 has got a little bit of a dip there. You might have noticed it. You want to hustle back to the left to set up for 13, 14. Despite it being 2 turns, it's really almost a constant radius turn here, as you see. Patience is key. Setting up for 15, another sharp corner left. Patience again is the name of the game in 15 to set up for 16, 17, 18. Another long, high-speed right-hander. A lot of throttle modulation. We're in 5th gear going through this corner. It's high speed. The car's wanting to push left. You got to resist it and get back to the right to set up for 19. 19's a nice high-speed corner. You want to straddle that gator right there in the center of the apex. Let the car drift out a little bit, but not too much. And then again, set up for turn 20. This is again another important turn on the circuit. It sets us up for the front stretch and the race back to the start-finish line. Again, here you're checking your mirrors, checking gauges, and that's a lap at COTA.
Great job by Brad Horstman, and that shot of his face tells the whole story, doing exactly what a race driver does. Check your dash and your gauges when you're on a straightaway, but when you're in the corner, look deep into the corner because the hands will take you where your eyes are looking. Great job. He even wiped his brow when he got across the line. I'm sure it was a big relief. Now you see the cars lined up on the grid, and that's where you'll find our pit reporter. Here's Heather LeBeau.
Well, Bob, Cyril Chasky will be starting this race from the pole position in the Coppa Shell Am class. As you can see right now, he's getting suited up and strapped into that Ferrari at this moment. But I got a chance to talk to him a little bit about his motivation for today's race. Let's check it out. Pole this season is Cyril Chasky. You made a great effort there on that final lap. Tell us about your qualifying effort and how were you able to get to that top spot?
Thanks, yeah.
I apologize for a problem with the audio there. I can tell you Cyril Chasky was delighted to pick up pole position for today's race. And you notice all the windshield blankets and other things used to try to keep these cars cool in this Texas heat. It's been a factor all weekend. We've talked about it a lot, but in fact, the cars have had no problems at all. All of the crews that I spoke with said, no, the car deals with it. It cools very well. These are the 488 Challenge Evo cars that made their debut in round 2 of this year's championship at Road Atlanta. An improvement in every way over its predecessor, known as the 488 Challenge. Evo stands for evolution. Better aerodynamics, better adjustability, better cooling, as I mentioned. Better tires, a new Pirelli tire on all 4 corners of every race car. And these are identical 488 Challenge Evos. Nobody has a technical advantage. Ferrari Challenge North America is a pure driver's championship. You get where your skills and execution take you. Quick look at our pole sitter. Cyril is, well, let's say he's looking at some important decisions. He mentioned it in that interview that we were unfortunately unable to bring to you, that he is on the pole for the first time and he's a bit concerned about the responsibilities of the pole sitter to control the pace, to start according to the starter's orders. The start line and the finish line are in 2 different places here at Circuit of the Americas. The cars are lined up on the grid at what will be the start line. And there will be no passing until you cross that line once the green flag is displayed. But it will be up to Cyril Chasky to decide how fast they're going when they get there. An absolutely fabulous racetrack is Circuit of the Americas in any condition. I was privileged to be the MC for its grand opening in 2012. It has since hosted virtually every major championship from around the world in addition to Ferrari Challenge. Designed by the German firm of Tilke and Associates, it includes lots of elevation changes and corners that pay tribute to some of the great corner complexes at circuits around the world. The S's of mighty Silverstone in England, the Maggots, Beckett's Chapel complex, as it's known in Jolly Old. There's a stadium section like the Hockenheim Ring in Germany. And there's a multi-apex sweeping right-hander like the 4-apex left-hander at Istanbul Park, home of the Turkish Formula One Grand Prix. Just a fabulous racetrack. And speaking of tributes, the first 130-plus foot climb to Turn 1 is unofficially known as Phil Hill, in honor of America's first Formula One world champion in 1961. Bathed in red and white stripes out front with the safety lights on top is the Hublot Ferrari F8 Tributo safety car. And there is a trademark, the centerpiece of the Circuit of the Americas, the Dragon's Tail Tower, an observation deck some 500 feet tall. That's a great view. And another person with a great view is Heather LeBeau. It's time for the most famous words in racing.
Drivers, start your Ferrari engines.
And with that, these 3.9 liter, 670 horsepower turbocharged Ferrari 488 Challenge Evo engines fire up. Perhaps not the scream of a racing engine that we would like to hear, but being turbocharged, they are somewhat muffled. And these are not pure racing engines. These are based on the street Ferrari 488 GTB. And the engine, the transmission, the suspensions, the bodywork, all the same as the Ferrari street car. No wild racing modifications in this Drivers' Championship. Simply safety modifications, interiors removed for weight. They are quick. So the safety car pulls away, and behind the field for our first of two races today here at Circuit of the Americas. This is the Coppa Shell category. And it's a colorful group. Top of the hill, this is turn one. Then they plunge downhill through turn two and enter the S's that I mentioned earlier. Left and right curves, and you must get your line inch perfect or you will lose time trying to correct if you're not on the perfect line. There's a great view. Here's a look at the starting grid. On the pole, Cyril Choksi for Ferrari of Denver, next to Justin Wetherell, Ferrari of Central Florida. Row 2, Christopher Rakin, Ferrari of Houston, and Michael Watt, Ferrari of Atlanta. Row 3, Todd Coleman, Ferrari of Denver, Dave Musial Jr., Ferrari Lake Forest. Row 4, Charles Whittall, Ferrari of Central Florida, and Lisa Clark, Ferrari of Beverly Hills. Row 5, Michael Krekel, Ferrari of Beverly Hills, and teammate Kirk Bearwald. Row 6, Jan Bernier for Ferrari of Seattle and Anthony DiCarlo for Worldwide Ferrari. On row 7, Lance Cawley with Ferrari of Atlanta, and John Visco making his debut in the series for Boardwalk Ferrari. Row 8, Dave Schmidt, Ferrari of Palm Beach, and John Lennon, Ferrari of San Francisco. Row 9, Bubba Roof, Foreign Cars Italia, and Eileen Bildman for Ferrari Long Island. Row 10, Neil Langberg for Ferrari South Bay, and George Zachary for Ferrari Silicon Valley. Row 11, Jesus Mendoza for Ferrari of San Francisco, and Roy Carroll for Foreign Cars Italia, scheduled to start, but it appears that Carroll, who suffered a heavy accident in Saturday action, will be unable to start the race. The car could not be repaired. Down the long 0.6 of a mile backstretch, you heard me introduce the field with Ferrari of here or there. The way the Ferrari Challenge works is drivers acquire their race cars and then associate themselves with an authorized Ferrari dealer. And those dealers have a competition among themselves to see who can score the most points during the 12-race season. 14 if you include the World Finals, the Finale Mondiale. Shane Donnelly, the safety car driver, brings them around. We expect one pace lap only. I see the lights atop the safety car from Hublot have gone out, and that means we are ready to go racing. Once again, a lot going through the mind of Cyril Choksi, you can be sure, as the cars begin to pair up side by side, 2 by 2. Beautiful sight. Great view from the drone camera flying alongside the full field of Ferrari race cars. Just a couple more corners to the start-finish line. This is turn 19. The Hublot safety car, the Ferrari F8 Tributo, will peel off. There he goes. Field is in the hands of pole sitter Cyril Choksi. Now you must wait for the green flag. Lower right of your screen, it waves. We're underway. Choksi with Wetherell right alongside as they get to turn 1, 2 and 3 wide. always elegant, but everybody appeared to make it through the corner. And then they plunge downhill and head for the S's. 670 plus horsepower under your right foot. Two female drivers in the field contesting the Ladies' Cup. Eileen Bildman and Lisa Clark. We also have a special class for gentlemen drivers over 55 years of age. But right now, everybody is the same. And they all want one thing, to get to the front. There's a good look at number 113, Kirk Bearwald, in a bright yellow Ferrari. Down the long backstretch where you see those black stripes where rubber has peeled off the tires onto the bumps in the racetrack. Heavy braking for turn 12. Good move down the inside for number 132. That's Jan Bernier, the Ferrari of Seattle. 9th in the championship coming in. His best finish this year is his 2nd place in race 1 at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway. He's in his rookie season here in Ferrari Challenge. There's Bernier. Number 166, Charles Whitall for Ferrari of Central Florida in the Orlando area. Onto the front straight they come through turn 20, using all of the track and some of the curb, most of the curb in fact. And then bury the throttle and head uphill to turn 1. Car number 150 is Michael Watt, winner of the first race for this class this weekend. In the darkness after sunset. The colors look familiar to college football fans. Michael is a huge supporter of the Clemson Tigers. He wears their colors. There's a springing tiger in the livery of the car. And his number is 150, which represents 15-0. The Clemson Tigers' undefeated record en route to one of their 2 national championships. He was really quick yesterday, led from pole to take the race victory. Right now he's running in the top 5. Justin Wetherill right behind, or right ahead I should say. Someone getting the back end loose as they get out onto the back straightaway. You want to get through turn 11 as fast as possible because you need all of those revs on this long back straight so as not to give up track space to the cars ahead and behind. Bubba Roof in that black and white, black and yellow, number 104. Looked like he had an idea of going down the inside. As you look at the top 6, Choxy, Wetherill, Watt, Aitken, Todd Coleman, and Dave Musial Jr., also known as Dave 2.0. His father, Dave Sr., also races Ferrari Challenge in a different class. But since they share different, I don't know how you could share different middle names, they have different middle names, so Dave Jr. is known as Dave 2.0. Competizione for the longtime owner Giuseppe Risi. Time gaps to the car ahead on the column to the left of your screen. There's Todd Coleman for Ferrari of Denver. Beginning to string out. 69 is Todd Coleman with that matte black livery on the car. drivers in Ferrari Challenge are assessed for their ability and their achievement and then placed in a class to race with people roughly the same speed. From fastest to slowest, they are Trofeo Borelli Am, Coppa Shell, and the cars racing here, Coppa Shell Am. The largest entry this weekend with 22 cars. If you win a lot, you seem to be faster than those around you, it will move you up to the next class so that everyone can enjoy the competition with as equal a chance of success as possible. Another look down the inside there. Bubba Roof. Now we skip ahead. Kirk Bearwalt in that bright yellow car. Up ahead of him, some very familiar color schemes. That's Zenith Blue and Tangerine. Colors made famous by the Gulf Oil Company, sponsors of great race cars for many decades. That is Lisa Clark, Ferrari of Beverly Hills. A true aficionado of motorsports, asking for those colors on her car. And Lisa leads Kirk onto the front straight. 23 minutes remaining in the race. Through turn 1. Wide entry. Lots of extra pavement in turns 1 and 11. So drivers can choose different lines. Bearwalt seems to like Lisa Clark's line, so he is following closely. Lisa is a motorsports veteran. She's been racing for many years. Truly enjoys Ferrari Challenge. And why not? The cars are fabulous. The amenities of the racing weekends are fantastic. They visit great racetracks in great destination cities. Close enough in that yellow Ferrari. He's in the slipstream of Lisa Clark. We'll see if he can make a move. In fact, he's got someone moving on him. It's Charles Woodall in the white car going down the inside at 12. Can he pull it off? Bearwalt's going to contest it. No contact yet. Respectful race driving. As far as Charles Woodall is concerned, that's as close as you can get to making a pass without actually winding up ahead of the car you were trying to pass. Let's see if he tries again. Other than turns 1, 11, 12, passing can be difficult on this racetrack, especially in this section. Lots of corners bunched together. Get alongside the car ahead of you on the brakes. Gap's opening up a little bit as they head up the straightaway toward the top of the hill and turn 1. Meanwhile, up front, Cyril Choksi has set fast lap of the race. 2 minutes, 15.388 seconds. There you see him. He's got about a 1 second gap over Justin Wetherill. Hear the thrumming of the Pirelli tires on the rumble strips, the red and white stripe strips at the side of the racetrack. Curbing, if you like. There's Michael Watt. Another second and change behind Wetherill. Over the brow on the back straight. through that slight depression, and then go as deep in the braking zone if you like. ABS systems on the car, adjustable by the driver. Pass for position here. In turn 11. We'll have to check when they come around. We see timing and scoring at the start-finish line. Another gaggle of cars close together. Can't go around the inside. You want to try the outside? That's Lance Cawley in the red car, being hounded in the biggest possible way by David Schmidt in number 134. Great pursuit. The multi-apex right-hander. See why it's difficult to pass. The cars are almost never straight over a mile of racetrack. Oh, Schmidt right up. As they turn on to the front straightaway. As you see, that's Lance Cawley up ahead, and again, Schmidt right up to the rear bumper of Cawley on the brakes. Just can't seem to stay close enough into the braking zone. You've got to be right up on the rear bumper of the car ahead and jump out of the slipstream to dive down the inside. Cawley able to hold off Schmidt. Say that Ferrari Challenge is a driver's championship. There's another good battle. It's Anthony DiCarlo. It's kind of the meat of the sandwich there between Michael Krekel and John Visca. Can he get it done? He's down the inside. No, it had to come to a virtual stop at the apex of turn 12. That was firm, but fair. Working the stadium section. John Visca making his debut this weekend in the series. Tulsa, Oklahoma. Being very aggressive. And a battle for position through turn 1. By Anthony DiCarlo to get by Krekel. Picking up that battle. Lisa Clark, Charles Woodall, and Kirk Bearwalt. Woodall got by Bearwalt in the yellow car. That battle is long from over as we approach the halfway point of the race. It's been a great weekend of racing here at Circuit of the Americas for the oldest and largest single-make racing series in motorsports, Ferrari Challenge. And you can see why. Great cars, great program, lots of track time. And best of all, you become a part of the fraternity of the legendary Ferrari name. An old colleague of mine used to say, every race driver wants to be a Ferrari driver. That's the dream these drivers are living here in Austin, Texas this weekend. Up front, Cyril Choksi leading from pole over Justin Wetherill. They are untroubled up there. Through turn one and down the hill. Choksi's best finish this season was 5th place in the second of 2 races at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway. He missed the season opening pair of races at Daytona Beach, Florida. He's in his 2nd season, and here he is leading the way to pick up maximum points. 15 points for a victory, 12 for second, then 10, 8, 6, 4, 2, and 1. Every driver in the race will have 1 championship point. But Choksi also gets the point, a bonus point for pole. And right now he holds the fast lap of the race, which would earn him another bonus point. So he could move up well in the championship as we begin the second half of the season. Young Justin Wetherill, who just a few short years ago decided he could fix the broken face of his cell phone. Pretty soon he was repairing all sorts of other tech devices. Next thing you know, he co-founded a company called You Break I Fix. And now they have more than 450 franchises around the country. There's the name on the side of the car. It's a great story of a business success. Meanwhile, up front, I should say, the untroubled Cyril Choksi. Heather has more on him.
Well, that's right, Bob. And one thing about these Ferrari drivers and this Ferrari Challenge Series is that it's really about self-improvement. You can self-improve lap to lap, race to race, day by day. And when I spoke to Cyril earlier, and when we mentioned at the top of the show that interview, we didn't quite get to hear what he said there, but he told me that after yesterday's day and how frustrating it was, he didn't even get to run a lap. So he was definitely motivated, and to me he said that his motivation to move to the front and do what I could today to definitely get a better starting spot, and we saw that. Of course, starting on the pole, you just mentioned he set the fast lap, so we'll see if he can keep this up and get his best finish of the season.
And he's going to have to work to do it, Heather, because right now Justin Wetherill has closed the gap to him. You're right. Cyril Choksi claimed pole, his first, in the most dramatic fashion. His first here at the track, I should say. The very last lap he turned was good enough to take pole position. And he took it away from the man behind him, Justin Wetherill. So I suppose you could say young Wetherill has some motivation. Now we're going to see an attack by Wetherill for the race lead in the near future. Oh, and Choksi goes around, and Wetherill goes into the lead easier than he could have ever imagined. He didn't even have to try to make the pass. Perhaps Cyril Choksi was concentrating on the car behind rather than the track ahead. He was late on the brakes. The rear end came around, and just like that, Choksi drops back to third as Michael Watt slots into the second position in that orange and purple car behind this man, Justin Wetherill, who has taken over the lead, and I bet he is still smiling. Here's another look. Down the hill from turn 10, hard braking for turn 11. He turns in with just too much speed, does Choksi, and around he goes. Both Wetherill and Watt able to slip by and advance their position. Just under 10 minutes to go in the race. Well, Cyril Choksi had motivation to claim pole position for this race. He certainly has motivation now to try to gather up Michael Watt and Justin Wetherill ahead of him. What a critical moment in the race. There's a good look at Michael Watt. He too having a bumper weekend in terms of championship points. Won last night's race. He's on the podium thus far. Here in the second race for the Coppa Shell Am category. And Cyril Choksi is dropping back rather than gaining ground on his rivals. I suspect he may have damaged his tires just that little bit, getting a vibration perhaps from some part of the car. Another good battle here. Todd Coleman. Dave Musial behind him. Notice the livery of Musial's car. Anime. We've got superheroes. In fact, interesting liveries on the race cars are a part of the family fun for Dave Musial Sr. and Jr. Dave Sr. has the Joker, as portrayed by the late Heath Ledger in the Batman movies. And Musial looking underneath Coleman. This is for 5th place. Both Coleman and Musial have finished as high as 2nd, so they know what it's like to run in the front under pressure. The front stretch. Michael Watt drawing ever closer to Justin Wetherill as we approach 7 minutes to go in the race. That's about 3 laps. Interesting to watch the racing lines each driver takes. Some using more curb than others, depending on which corner we're talking about. They'll use all of it and then some here. Now headed for turn 11. I don't think Watt is close enough for an inside move. No, he's not. Onto the backstretch they go. Perhaps he can do to Wetherill what Wetherill did earlier to our leader Cyril Choksi. Get so close that you distract them and force an error. All's fair in love and motorsports. So Watt is right there. Both drivers took that corner well. There's a bit of a depression right at the corner apex. So if you stay wide of it by just a foot or so, you get a much smoother turn. The stadium section. Watt going a little bit wider. You don't need to be told what the time gap is between the two cars. You can see for yourself. Here's Lisa Clark challenging Jan Bernier. Actually, it's the other way around. Looks like Bernier got the advantage on Clark, but she was able to reclaim it for 8th place. Back to the leaders. 5 minutes to go now. Justin Wetherill able to keep Michael Watt behind him so far. Look at the gap they've got in third place. Cyril Choksi now. I would almost bet money that he's got a vibration from a flat spotted tire. Christopher Aiken right behind him, trying to take advantage for Ferrari of Houston, moving to third place. He's going to have to get closer, but there is time. More than 4 minutes to go. Aiken started his racing career as a drag racer. He decided he'd like to go road racing, worked his way up through the training program to become a Ferrari Challenge driver. The formal factory program is called Corsa Piloti driver training. Run at various tracks around the United States. You work through 4 levels of familiarity and skill, from sport to advanced to evolution, and finally to the challenge level, where you become a fully licensed racing driver and a member of the Ferrari Challenge fraternity. I don't know how fraternal these two are feeling right now as the battle continues for 5th place between Todd Coleman right there and Dave Musial Jr. Ferrari of Denver and Ferrari of Lake Forest. A slight move there by Coleman. A little squiggle up front, that's a technical term. And they're catching traffic, so that could have an impact in the way this battle works out. Meanwhile, number 173 is Cyril Choksi, who started from pole. Now in 3rd place after being passed by both Michael Watt and the race leader Justin Wetherill. Choksi is trying to hold on from Christopher Aiken, who is getting closer by the lap. No word yet as to whether there's anything wrong with Choksi's car after that big spin down in turn number 11 that allowed both Watt and Wetherill through. There you see Aitken, number 119. Ferrari of Houston as they plunge down the hill. Behind Aiken, Todd Coleman, Dave Musial, the battle we were just watching. Keep an eye out for the bright yellow Ferrari 488 of Kirk Bearwalt running in 7th place. Up on the lead, Wetherill leading Watt. A terrific battle, and Watt closes up under braking. 2 minutes to go in the race. Needs to have a plan. Which corner will I get him at? How close can I get to him? Coming up to 11 here. This is where the two of them moved from 2nd and 3rd to 1st and 2nd. Watt tucks in behind as they go up through the gearbox on the back straight. They have an opportunity in the braking area for turn 11 to grab the race lead. Here they come. Watt slides to the inside. Wetherill's right there, and well, Wetherill closes the door. Again, firm but fair. A defensive move by Jason Wetherill, the move of a veteran, I might add. Michael Watt probably saying, touche. Should have another chance. I won't make the same mistake twice. Just need to be a little bit closer alongside so that Wetherill cannot shut the door next time, because the doorway will be full of Matt Watt's 488 Challenge Evo. Turn 19. Onto the front straightaway to get the white flag. With barely half a minute to go on the clock. There's the white flag. One more lap of this 3.42 20-turn facility. But fewer opportunities than that for Matt Watt to try to pick up his 2nd victory of the weekend. Down the hill they come. Love the view from this drone camera as they sweep by into the S's. And now Watt draws closer. Watt is right there. Maybe I've overcooked that corner just a little bit. This is turn 8. They can use all of that rumble strip and then some. And then turn 9, turn 10 over the brow, plunging downhill. Watt could try it here. He tries to the outside. That is a really ambitious move, and it doesn't work. He can't hold his speed on that long radius, and Wetherill remains in the lead. That was an opportunity missed for Watt, I think. He's having another one at the end of this straightaway. But I don't think he's close enough. And you see Wetherill drift to the middle of the track. That's not the line he's been using all day, but it's a good defensive one because Watt cannot get between him and the corner apex. Round to the right they go to the stadium section through 14, 15, and 16. Watt closes up, but that's a very difficult place to make a pass unless you can get them going out and shut the door for this right-hander that comes up. Accelerating. Careful on this off-camber downhill into turn 19. The checkered flag awaits. Can Justin Wetherill hold on for yet another victory in his Coppa Am season? And he will get one by the merest of margins. Wetherill takes it over Watt. And Cyril Choksi holds on to keep Christopher Aiken behind him in third and fourth. And then Todd Coleman and Dave Musial Jr. side by side as they cross the line. Coleman holding on for fifth. Three terrific two-car races there across the line. There's Lisa Clark in that beautiful blue and orange livery. Attempted move behind. John Lennon moving on Charles Whitall, but not able to get it done. Kirk Bearwalt in 7th, Lisa Clark 8th, Charles Whitall 9th, John Lennon 10th. As they cross the line. What a race between these two. Michael Watt on the right, and Justin Wetherill in car 199. Having an absolutely spectacular season and fattening his lead for the championship in the Coppa Shell Amp category. You see him waving out the window to Michael Watt. Good race, partner. A fun half hour. And I'm sure we'll hear that from all of these drivers as the afternoon goes on. At the finishers left side of your screen, John Viscup on his debut, an 11th place finish. As we take another look at Justin Wetherill on his cool down lap. Well done to everyone. Soon they'll be back in the comfort of the garage area to accept congratulations, and they will wait now for the next race combining the Trofeo Pirelli, Pirelli Am, and Coppa Shell Open categories before the final podium ceremonies and awards of the weekend. I've seen some team pictures of Jason Wetherill and his crew. He is always quick to congratulate them on a job well done at Ferrari of Central Florida. And there are more pictures to come. Now, these cars will have to go into what's called Parc Fermé. They may not be touched until the end of the racing. And the scrutineers get a chance to check all of them. The results, Jason Wetherill with the victory over Michael Watt, Cyril Choksi, Christopher Aiken, Todd Coleman, Dave Musial Jr., Kirk Bearwalt, Lisa Clark, Charles Whitall, and John Lennon. Lisa Clark, the Ladies Cup category winner over Eileen Bildman, who finishes 19th. John Viskup, as I mentioned, good performance on debut. Jan Bernier ran much higher during the early part of the race, but faded to 13th place. Bernier has had good speed all weekend, but wasn't able to put it to good use in that race. David Schmidt dropped well back with problems. Roy Carroll did not start the race due to crash damage. Here's a look at the highlights of the race. Cyril Choksi in the blue car with red and white stripes started from pole. Jason Wetherill right there with him as they got to turn 1, but Choksi took the lead. Here's Jan Bernier, which I talked about earlier, running well up in the early going. Putting a move there. Lisa Clark, blue and orange. Kirk Bearwalt. Charles Woodall got to the apex, but Lisa shut him down, and Bearwalt wouldn't let him through. Even closer action there at the same corner, turn 12. Now here's where Choksi at turn 11 goes in just a little too hot. Around comes the back end. Witherall is through. Watt right behind him, and then those two engaged in this great battle. Watt taking a look here at 12, but he couldn't get it done. Firm defense from Jason Witherell, and the result is a victory with Watt right on his rear bumper. And then Choksi holding on to third for the final position on the podium. Terrific race. And we talk about points in the second half of the season. Championship standings, all that important. Justin Wetherell remains the class leader and opens up his gap over new second place man Christopher Aiken, who bumps Dave Musial Jr. down to third. Then Michael Watt and those behind. Look at those close gaps in the points with all the racing we have still ahead of us. Cyril Choksi with the pole position and the third place finish moves up into 10th place. Kirk Bearwalt moves up as well, while Charles Whitall falls a couple of places. There's 21st through 30th. Lisa Clark in 23rd. Eileen Bildman looking like a lock for the Ladies' Cup in this 2020 season. But as I mentioned, they have a long way to go. 2 more race weekends before the Finale Mondiale. And we hope you'll be with us for Ferrari Challenge North American racing every step of the way. But for now, we'll take a break. Trofeo Pirelli M, and Coppa Shell coming up later, so be sure to join us for that. And until then, from Circuit of the Americas, for Heather DeBow, I'm Bob Varsha. See you later.